What are we waiting for? We're waiting for Iraq to make an announcement, I believe, in some shape or form. It's going to be his job. He's the Central Bank of Iraq governor. Washington, we support the economic reform agenda in Iraq, including updating the budget, and enhancing transparency. Question, with the HCL funded, is the RV imminent? Marks, HCL, we keep seeing rumors but they have not announced it. I believe they have done everything but just not announced it. This evening, Baghdad hosts the first round of indirect talks between Washington and Tehran. Urgent. What is Iraq's hydrocarbon law? Iraq hydrocarbon law, also known as Iraq's oil law, is aimed to create a legal framework for the management of oil production and revenue sharing amounts various stakeholders in Iraq. Stakeholders are the Iraqi government, the companies that are involved, the different provinces, the different governments. Remember, you got some very corrupt politicians. If they had it their way, they'd keep it all for themselves, but the money is going to be distributed based on the per capita of each province. That makes it a lot more fair. Each territory is going to decide what they want to do with their version of the funds. The Minister of Finance and the US Ambassador today discuss efforts to achieve economic reforms. They strengthen bilateral relationships between the two United States and Iraq with a focus on economic cooperation. I like that part. The meeting discussed the Development Road project that connects Iraq to Europe through Turkey and is one of the largest strategic and vital projects, making Iraq the link between Asia and Europe. That is unbelievable, and it's given a finality to it. I like it. Does the CBI have a timetable to their plan of reforms, and are they following it? They are now targeting early 2025 for the reinstatement. Everything they are doing from now to the end of year is geared towards this target, is on a timetable. Iraq increases reserves at IMF by 50%. Many central banks around the world increase their reserves with the IQD. Because it's no secret. I recently heard to expect the RV between the 22nd and 26th of October. Marks, based on what I am hearing, that makes sense. Iraq increases reserves at IMF by 50%. Quote, Iraqi cabinet approved an increase in Iraq's quota at the International Monetary Fund, IMF, by 831.9 million special drawing rights, SDR, equivalent to 1.45 trillion Iraqi dinars, $1.1 billion, based on the exchange rate as of October 8, 2024. This 50% increase will enhance the country's voting power within the IMF. The IMF created SDRs as an international reserve asset to supplement member countries' official reserves. They serve as a potential source of liquidity for IMF member nations. EMO. Last week a series of meetings have been occurring with banks. EMO, the Central Bank of Iraq, is sending out a beacon apostrophe ... a submarine ping. This data, information, intel, is coming, and it's now coming fast to all these US banks. They went from denying and saying it's a scam to, they're saying we'll talk to you soon. HCL is completed and fully funded today. We're up next. BABYSMM, HCL stands for hydrocarbon law. It is the law that divvies up the profits from Baghdad's sale of oil, with profits going to the other parts of Iraq. There has always been a back and forth about how much of a profit percentage the other parts of Iraq would receive. Kuwaiti Prime Minister Ahmed Abdullah Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah called on Iraq to take tangible measures to address all pending issues between the two countries. In his speech at the Gulf European Summit in Brussels, Al-Sabah said, "At the forefront of these files is the demarcation of the maritime borders beyond point 162 in accordance with international laws and conventions, and the completion of the file of prisoners, missing persons and Kuwaiti properties, including the National Archives within the scope of the follow-up of the United Nations and in particular the Security Council." Al-Sabah urged Iraq to adhere to the bilateral agreements related to the security and technical aspects of the navigational passage in Khor Abdullah, which are agreements that would enhance the concept of environmental conservation, regulate navigation, and combat terrorism, and the illegal trade in weapons, drugs and human beings, stressing the importance of continuing the dialogue based on understanding and mutual respect between the two brotherly countries. He pointed out that based on the belief in the principle of good neighborliness, Kuwait was keen to help Iraq rise up through close work aimed at restoring its regional status and position in a way that achieves the hopes of its brotherly people. On October 3, Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein announced the imminent resumption of Iraqi-Kuwaiti negotiations to resolve outstanding problems between the two countries, noting Iraq's true desire to reach understandings to resolve existing differences. Political expert Mohammed El-Dari confirmed today, Friday, that the American ambassador in Baghdad violated diplomatic norms by interfering in the country's internal affairs, expressing surprise at the silence of the foreign ministry regarding these violations without taking any position to limit these violations.